Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us again. Welcome to Shagalinku TV. This is another special edition of the show because I said the whole month of December we'll be doing specials, from one topic to another, and especially that it is the 16 days of activism where we are talking about gender-based violence and all of that. So from now to the end of December, it will be special editions. Okay, for those of you who already have joined us or have been following us in all of our social media handles, you'll already know the topic that we'll be discussing, and we're looking at bullying and school, boarding school and bullying. What are the solutions? I know bullying is just one aspect or one problem of boarding schools, but like they would say, parents would also say that um, taking their wards or children to boarding school is like choosing between the devil and the deep blue sea. But my worry here as we go on to do this conversation is, let's take for instance the banking industry. If every customer drops their money in the bank, it's not the customer's business how the bank secures that money for as long as that money is in the bank. So I liken it to the school or the academic place now. So for every parent who decides to take their ward or children to any school, and for schools to even open up for academics or for business, so to say, I'm sure they must have done their work. They must have done everything necessary to make sure that children or what's coming into that school are protected. I am not sure it is the duty of the parents to now make sure that the school is secured for the children. The onus lies on the school to do all of that. Anyway, I have two guests here who will be doing all of that. And we're also enjoining you to join in the conversation. You know how we do it. The comment section is open for you. Drop your comments there. Have you been bullied before? Do you know someone who's been bullied? Have you attended a boarding school? What do you think about it all? What is the solution? What can educational systems, the ministries, government policies, and yes, even the parents, what can they begin to do differently? I know a lot of parents would also want to do a background check before they take their children to schools they take them. But with the events turning out now, the likes of the one that just happened recently, it's obvious that what, like they always say in the social media, what you ordered for and what you get in return might not just be the same. My name is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari. Welcome to the program. The comment section is there. Drop your comments for our guests, questions, opinions about the topic of discussion, and our guests will be here to respond and all of that. I have Auntie Ngozi Nwosu-Juba. We call her Auntie Ngo, all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. And we have Chief Mrs. Ogbenyalo Udeala Okoye, all the way from Dublin, Ireland. Together, we will be doing this today. And I'll bring them in now to just do a short introduction of themselves, and then we'll take it up from there. Let's start with Antingo. Hi, Antingo. Good to see you.
Hello, Ambassador. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. As I have been introduced, my name is Ngozi Nwosu-Juba. I live in Lagos. I work in Lagos. I am the project director of Vision Spring Initiatives. We work mostly in schools to help, young boys and girls change some norms that has made it, all the things that we've been told in those days that, oh, girls can't do this, boys can't do this. We are working at changing those norms, working, holding the hands of boys and girls. And we felt this was critical, as if we knew, that we'll get to a point where, our life becomes so difficult when our children begin to bully others. Of course, it's not to say that bullying has not been in schools, but just to say that we are seeing another dimension of it. And I'm also a member of the Child Protection Network in Lagos State, and I'm really glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Antingo. I hope you let me call you Antingo throughout this show because that is what we know you as worldwide. Anyway, let me go to Dublin, Ireland, and have Chief Ogbenyalo introduce herself as well, and then we'll take up the discussions from there. Good to see you again, Chief.
Thank Good to see you too. My name is Oboyalu Oye. I live in Dublin. I am an accountant, specialized forensic accounting, and I'm also a chartered banker and a risk and financial analyst. You're wondering, why I'm into NGO and youth and women empowerment. Oh yes, my accounting profession has actually taken me into various NGOs. I have worked as an accountant in different NGOs. I've worked with Gota, and Gota, I was part of the accounting team that built schools in Uganda, in Malawi, in Zimbabwe, in Ghana, and empowered women and children. I've also worked with Sherry Blair Foundation as a mentor to start women who have startup businesses, and I have been a mentor for with Sherry Blair for 3 years. I also lent my voice in Empower Women Champion, which I got an award from the United Nations Women. I was recognized for lending my voice for equality for women, empowering women, and making them financially viable. Um, I have a passion actually in NGOs, anything NGO, anything empowerment, anything youth, children, women who are the most marginalized, and we know that in Africa. So we need to give them a chance. We need to give them a leeway where they can actually start off and meet up with the rest of the world. I run an NGO called WAD Women Global. It's basically for women, which of course we are going to be incorporating youth as well. For now, it's just for women to empower them. People who are working, who can't afford to start a business, we help them get the funding. We help them start up small businesses to sustain themselves and their family. And from there, hopefully, they become economically viable in the society.
Thank you so much, Chief, for that. I'll bring in Auntie Ngozi now, and I need her to just tell me briefly what she thinks about what transpired. The social media has been awash with a whole lot. In fact, I couldn't watch the videos. When I watched one for like a few seconds, it just broke me down. I mean, we do things on human rights. We've always advocated for adults, but seeing a child so helpless and knowing that that child could have been saved, that death was preventable. How was it like for you, both as a mother, as a human rights activist who touched the world, speaking? I mean, as activists, basically, you think you're doing one step at a time to change the world, but issues like this just break you down because it zeroes everything you've done, and it feels like you've never done anything before. Because if you see issues like this, they just break you in pieces. And Tingo, how was it like for you when you saw those videos?
Much, Ambassador. Up till now, I've not been able to watch that video. I know I will not watch it because I just seen the picture. In fact, I was very upset when I saw his picture when he was alive, and then by his the side also they put a picture of him when dead and his corpse and things like that. That has really unsettled me. It's made me feel very sad. It made me also look at how we are failing our generation. And what has even angered me most is how everyone has become analysts on these issues. And this is one thing I have a challenge about Nigeria. When something happens like this, you find everyone becomes analysts. The analysis does not look at the root cause of the problem. The analysis goes around, oh, they should shut down boarding schools, oh, they should do that. Then I'm just thinking, and then some people then begin to unearth um, boarding schools and how it was introduced by Oyibo and all that. And I'm asking, how many things have we done for ourselves, if not most of the time copy, including laws that are 1904 laws Nigeria has. So what have we really done for ourselves that we keep castigating anything anytime something happens? And you started well when you said when you keep your money in the bank, whose responsibility is it to make sure that your money is safe? And when accidents happen, you know and even when there are plane crashes, do we still fly aeroplanes? So what has happened? What is the missing link? If I was just thinking about boarding school, and it reminds me about when in the early days when our parents drop us off with neighbors, or when we do something wrong, your neighbor had responsibility to say what you have done as a child. Your neighbor can beat you or flog you as a child, and if your mother comes, your mother will thank the neighbor for doing that. And that's what boarding school looks to me. Parents are extremely busy. It is difficult to pay fees. We don't have good government schools that people can take their children to. The other time I was watching a boarding school in northern Nigeria. They didn't have windows. It was cloth that they tied around, what was window. And this is a state where people are being, abducted and all that. And so what has happened is that these schools have been very, very helpful in ensuring that parents who are extremely busy can have other mother figures and father figures who to me was like used to happen in the olden days, where they look after these children. The difference now is that you are paying money for them to do that. Of course, parents do have their own blame. When you have a child in boarding school, you drop them off and probably travel abroad for months, because we've been having lots of conversations, and someone was saying that a particular family dropped their child in boarding school for 2 years, and when they came to the school, the child refused to come and say hello to them. How true? I do not know. But the thing is, the root cause of a child being killed is not because he's in boarding school. He was killed because of the kind of morals that we have, the way we have stopped the responsibility of raising children as a community, as a family. My daughter used to be in a private school, in primary school, and there are times that I hear parents, for instance, parents will be told, your daughter should not make a particular hairstyle. This is the school hairstyle. And then they come to the house and say, our auntie said we should change our hairstyle. And you see the mother saying, your teacher is a fool. Did your teacher put money in my account? Do you understand? So at home, you're raising your child to know that, to think that they can insult their teachers. They take it to the school. If they can insult teachers, what makes you think they won't bully their colleagues who are their age mates? You see, so we have a society that has thrown respect and integrity and everything to the trash, and we are blaming boarding school is just a structure. Then these are children from our homes that we have failed to raise, and we bring them, and then they are constituting nuisance. And we're saying, oh, how can I bring my child that I love? I can't take to boarding school. Oh, but what you should understand is that we have children that have been badly brought up, and they are part of that school. They are the ones who bully other children. Bullying has always been there. I remember, though I didn't go to boarding school, I remember friends have told me that in their boarding school days, they tell them, oh, take spoon and fill a bucket of water. Oh, go and cut grass. It wasn't a case of another child flogging another child, torturing another child, and all sorts of things. So it's where we are as a nation. That school, what happened in Dowen is just a classical picture of Nigeria, where we are right now. I remember another big school in Lagos. What happened was that a 2-year-old child, she was not a boarding school girl. She was dropped off by her mother who goes to work, drops her off, picks her in the evening. A teacher was fingering that child. When the issue came up, the school tried all they could. That was Lagos, one of the biggest schools. They tried all they could to close that case. They didn't succeed. And so Sylvester has died, but Sylvester has opened a can of worms where we're going to begin to look back as a nation, as a people. Where have we gone wrong? What should we do? So it's not one person. Even our government, we used to all go to public. I tell people I went to a public school. What's happening to our public schools? Half of the boys and girls in public schools these days, I did that personal research, they are either people's house girls or people whose fathers have died and their mother are single parents. Those are mostly the people they have in public school. People who don't have anybody to take them to private school, because the education there has so deteriorated that you don't want to put your child that you love in that place. And so it's a global picture of how, as a nation, we are beginning to fail in bringing up children, in being a society that respects others. And then Rachel said something. I like what Rachel said. She's on Facebook, and she said that schools should establish non-bullying policies. You see, we have policies everywhere, even like laws in Nigeria. We have them. But what we need is implementation. I know when the Doing thing started, they quickly wrote and tried to exonerate themselves, you know. So we need to implement whatever policies we come up with. I think that's where the problem is. I'll stop here so my sister can also speak.
Okay, thank you so much, Antongo. I'll bring Chief now to also share with us her own part of it. Chief, how was it like for you when you heard of it, and how gory were the videos, and how deplorable were some of the comments? Because sometimes for me, when I see issues, I really don't even look at the issues. I look at how people respond to them. That's where you see the impulse, that's where you see the reactions and the nitty gritty of people's home training and where they come from. When you see some very deplorable things people talk about, it's like rape issue, for instance. A girl is raped, and people leave the issue at hand, leave the perpetrator, and start blaming. Why the girl wear miniskirt? Why she go see the man for night? Why this one? Why that one? And you are leaving the substance. How was it like for you, Chief?
Thank you for bringing me on. It was actually very horrible when I couldn't watch it. I couldn't, just like Mrs. Ngozi said, I just couldn't look at it, right? But I was more interested in the comments. You know, people trashing the parents of the dead child. Why would people do that? Can we just understand that as long as a child is in the school environment, the responsibility lies with the school. If the child is at home, responsibility lies with the parents. Whatever happened in school, the school should take responsibility. Okay. Now we're talking about bullying, and let's actually first of all, let's define bullying. You know, aggressive behavior. Now, we can tell, sometimes we can't actually tell the difference between, you know, a bad joke and bullying. But basically, bullying is, like Wikipedia defined it, is the use of force, coercion, hurtful teasing or threat to abuse aggressively, dominate or intimidate. The behavior is often repeated and habitual. And I see it as being aggressive and the use of force and power to intimidate others. You see them as the weaker vessel. You feel you have power over them. It can be all in all forms. Social media, cyberbullying. It can be in class. But my question is, poor Sylvester, how long has this been going on and he has kept mute? Because there should be a policy in the school when it comes to bullying. It must be in place. There must be people who can take up such, you know, somebody he can actually talk to in school while he's in school. Let's get this straight. This happened in school, not at home. Now the parents weren't aware of this. This happened in the school environment. Did he talk to anybody regarding that? Did he complain to anyone? Or did he just take it in and, you know, accept it as, okay, fine. I'm going to be a senior. I'm going to finish this class soon and move on, you know. The mental torture, first of all, psychological effect of bullying. The poor boy must have gone through so much. And then again, we live in a society where they would call him a weakling. Oh, who is bullying you? Do we really take bullying seriously in Nigeria? Do we really take that? Is it a serious offense? You come home and you tell your parents you're being bullied in school. Would your parents actually believe you? Would they actually understand what you're going through? Oh, he kicked me, he did this, he called me names. What are we going to tell the child? When you go back, kick him back. If he calls you names, call him back. You know, just like Ms. Ngozi said, you know, money in a saner climate, okay, where education is free. Now, no one is talking about money now, okay? Boarding school is boarding school. You abide by the rules. We have boarding schools here. My children, my two girls in university all went to the boarding school. My third girl is currently in a boarding school. And there are meetings, parent-teacher meetings where bullying is the top of the discussion. It's very serious here. It's taken very seriously here. I really don't know if it's taken serious in Nigeria, to be honest, because first of all, a child dies in a school. Somebody has to be held accountable, okay? It's either the principal resigns, which is supposed to be normal. It's either the head teacher or the head boarder, the person in charge of the boarding house resigns because they have failed in their duty, losing a child. Now, in an environment like Nigeria, I understand closing down the school indefinitely because something harsh a harsh decision has to be taken, in an environment like Nigeria for people to learn their lesson. If it wasn't so, it could repeat itself. People could go scot-free and bullying would be persistent in that school. And then because of the money, because of the caliber of people in that school, the principal once again would want to overlook it. So this is a harsh but acceptable step, shutting down the school. It's going to affect some innocent students, but well, we live in a society where we have to take harsh decisions when it comes to that. The people blaming the parents of the child, I would like to say people mourn differently. Okay, I just read the comments upon comments where the parents of the child celebrated his birthday. Okay, he was on social media, on TV, on bloggers pages and stuff like that, and people now said he was seeking attention. He wants to be, it's clout chasing. It hasn't dawned on them yet. People mourn differently. They would want to celebrate his birthday like he's still alive. They would want to still cherish that little moment that they have. They haven't actually realized till maybe his funeral. We've had instances where a woman would come, people would come over and inform her, oh, you just lost your child, or your husband just died. And she starts singing and clapping and praising God. And she'll tell you it's not her portion. She'll be singing. You see her the next week, she's all dressed, well made up. It is affecting them psychologically. Whatever they are doing, they want to be sane. Celebrating his birthday, they want to be sane. Okay? They want to be able to cope with it. We actually have to support them and not to put them down. We have to give them the support, 100%. However they are going about it. Whichever media they want to talk. Do people understand what grief is? It weighs you down. It's a hard lump here. You need to let it out. And that's exactly what they are doing. They lost a child. He's never coming back. And they want to celebrate him. The father wants to talk. See, as far as I am concerned, he is actually even not in the right frame of mind. He is going through a tough patch. So whoever that comes to him for an interview, he's willing to let his voice, oh, hear me, please. This is what happened to my son. He's actually crying for help. And people are busy trashing him. Trashing the woman, saying they're smiling on the photograph. Look at them on social media, smiling and cutting the cake of their dead son. What a society we live in. It's very, very sad and heartbreaking to hear such. It is very sad. Again, I blame the society we live in, the Nigerian society. I will always, the buck lies on them. It comes to their table. I will always blame the society one lives in. It actually affects the mindset. It actually, okay, when I made a post on Facebook about bullying, somebody now said, how about top officials that bully people? Now, you know what that means. It cycle, it just goes on and on and on, and it needs to be addressed. It's a serious issue. It needs to be addressed.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Chief. In case you just joined us, this is Shagalinku TV, a special edition, and we're looking at boarding schools and bullying. What is the solution? Well, it's an aftermath of what happened, and the media has been agog with Sylvester's demise, out of bullying and all of that. So, if you attended a boarding school or you got to know someone who was bullied in school, do share with us. I read a few messages here, and my guests, my two wonderful guests, Aunt Ngozi and Chief Ogbenyalo, will respond to them. And this one is from Rachel Edin in Cross River State. It says schools should put policies in place that speak against bullying. Thank you so much for that. And Rachel, the second time, says, um, I went to a boarding school and yes, I was bullied. I never reported to my parents or the school authority because the senior student will always remind you that you will come back to the hostel, meet them after reporting. So I learned to adapt. Okay, I'll bring in Auntie Ngozi here now. I'd like you to respond to this because this is even the nitty gritty of it all. How should parents begin to teach their children to open up to them? Because when we also introduced this topic, part of what we also wrote out on our update is that bullies also have a way of putting fears in the minds of their victims and say, if you report, we will kill you. Just like rape issues, they will tell you, the upper one will be saying, if you report, I will either sack you or I will kill you or I will do this. So how do we begin to build the mind of these young ones to know that they can actually confide in either you, the parents, or like Chief said before, there should be someone in that school that anybody could run to. I know in some government organizations they will say you can write an anonymous letter and put in a box where you don't need to put your name or something. How can parents begin to build the mindset of their kids?
Okay, thank you very much. So, and we say it, you see, this culture of silence, where we think that young people, oh, we have to wait till they are 18 or 16 before they can have voice, is part of the challenge. I give example of myself. I didn't go to boarding school when I was young, but I was bullied, you know. There was a classmate of mine who used to say to me, when you are coming, bring me a plate of rice. When you're coming, bring me a plate of this. And I usually prepare those things. At times I take it without my mother knowing, package it and bring it to this boy. And the funny thing, everybody and this is primary school, and everybody in my primary school, I can't remember a single person, but I remember this boy. He's the only one I can still mention his name till tomorrow. And I never told my mom. Why? Why did that happen to me? It happened because I didn't have that kind of relationship that people should have with their mother or father, where you can speak your mind. Yeah. And so this is one of the things I said to myself. I'm having an organization. What I want to do is to give voice to girls and boys. I was interested in girls because I see that girls are the ones who suffer more violence. So, for instance, if you look at statistics of violence, you hear that one in every three child, the girl child, has been abused. That was why we decided to focus on girls. And so, how do you go about it? There must be nothing too difficult for you as a mother to discuss with your child. Empowerment of every child starts from the house. I'm not saying teach your child to be rude to teachers and all that. Let your child understand the consequences of not being able to speak up. And so for me and my daughter, we started very, very early. Conversation. There's nothing we cannot talk about. Nobody can tell my daughter to do this and not tell your mom, and she's going to agree. So mothers, fathers have a responsibility when the child is growing. You begin to tell them, not even because they're going to go to boarding school. You need to have a voice. If anything happens, make them your trusted adult. No, become their trusted adult. Never shout them down when they are trying to say something to you. I see it very often. A child comes, mommy, so get out, get out. You say, why did you tell her to get out? I have visitors. You don't know what a child has come to tell you. And some other children, Mom, Uncle this, Uncle what? Shut up, Uncle this. Many of us have truncated the life of our children. They are alive, but they don't have a voice. And so they take that timid nature. They go and mix in other families where some other children have experienced all kinds of bullies. Why do you think they are bullies? Some of them are the ones watching when their father is beating the hell out of their mom. They become bullies. Some of them are in families where everybody can talk back at everybody and insult senior sister insults junior brother and junior brother insults senior sister, and they are learning it. Some of them are in families where before daddy talks, mommy is already quarreling or holding daddy's shirt. They come to schools. This is what they know. They are children are like slates, empty until you write on them. The things we write on them are what they play out when they come to school. Let me give you an example. One day we are going for a walk with some young people, and then another little girl stepped on another girl's leg. Before this child can say sorry, she slapped her. And I said to her, why? He said, she stepped on me. And my spirit, and I, of course, being a child psychologist, I said, this child is from a very violent home. Another child steps on you, before we could turn our back, this girl had slapped back. So what am I saying? Parents, it's not too late. You must give your child. Initially, we started this training for only girls, but we also learned that boys, somehow they've come to have this masculinity right. We are untouchable, we have arrived, even as ignorant. Some of them are totally ignorant, but there's this thing, oh, I'm a boy, my mother say I'm a boy, this and that. And so we started also passing that knowledge for boys. But you find out that even if you go to class to talk to boys and girls, the girls are really, really timid. They won't say a word. Why? Nobody is discussing anything with them at home. And so my daughter goes to boarding school, and they, oh, my mommy, I like this place, just that one girl did this and did that. And then I'll come to the school and address it. So we must, as parents, give our daughters and sons voice. We must never have a child that people are torturing to the point of death. This child did not say a word. This child did not say, let me call my parents and say, if my daughter has a cough now, she's telling her auntie, I need to call home. Oh, I'm coughing. And then okay, you either go to the sick bay or I'm coming to pick you. We have work to do. No matter how busy you are, we can't really 100% exonerate parents. I don't have a problem with boarding school. It's been very helpful for parents. But when you have a child in boarding school and you totally drop the child without having any kind of relationship till when they come back on vacation, that's really not acceptable. Then school on their own part, like you said at the beginning, you have a responsibility. It's not just to collect money. Some of them charge as big as 1 million in one term. You charge all that, and you want the parents to pack their load and still be in school to take care of the children. That's totally unacceptable. And what I see also is impunity. Nothing will happen. Because if they really think, schools really think that parents or parents, are going to be really angry with them if their children are bullied, they will take their work more seriously. I think they're emphasizing money a lot, and that's really not cool. Especially as most of them are even come from the background, or we are religious organization that set up school to help government. That mentality of just leaving the children to themselves is unacceptable. Totally unacceptable.
Thank you so much for that, Antongo. I'll bring in Chief now. Chief, if you can see this message on the screen, I'd like you to read, and then you can give a response. This is from Dorothy Nuhu Akanova from Mina, Niger State. Could you read this and let's see?
Oh, we keep shying away from comprehensive sexuality education. The emphasis is on comprehensive. This package will develop life competency skills in children, enabling them interpret power relationships and report abusive behavior. There will be counselors to support the children as they need. Comprehensive also deals with negative sexual behavior. Schools need to embrace CSE in its totality. Policies alone will not do. I absolutely agree with her, actually. Yeah. Policies alone will not do. There has to be some sort of scheme. There has to be some sort of, she called it CSE, comprehensive sexuality education. I totally agree with that. The school needs to develop that as the child is growing, Boarding school, day school. It doesn't matter which one you went to. Everybody or some people have experienced bullying in day school. I just like Mrs. Ngozi said, I experienced bullying in primary school, and it's not something that you can relieve with a smile. It's something that puts the fear of, oh my goodness, the fear of heaven and earth in you. and your parents are waking you up in the morning to go to school, and you're literally shaking because you're going to meet the same people again in school, and they are going to continue from where they stopped. I think, to be honest, I would blame the society. I keep saying this. If the society was firm on this, and I would always use a saner climb, I would say, okay, I wouldn't. Let me give an example. In Kenya, I've been to Kenya. The laws are very strict for women. Oh, you can't mess with their women and go scot-free. You can't beat up a woman in Kenya and go scot-free. The laws are firm on that. The laws, they know that the women are I would say, less privileged because the men are the ones working, the women are having children. Some of them are stay-at-home mothers. Oh, the law is very firm, and it would give me great joy if we take that up in our dear country, because a lot of things get swept under the carpet, and somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. Why would a school come out and the school board tell a lie? Why would they say he was playing football? I would like to know that, to be honest. Why hasn't somebody resigned from the school? Why are they having meetings upon meetings upon meetings? Have they actually set up a committee to see exactly what happened? The witnesses, the head of the boarding house, the teachers. Did the boy ever complain to someone? It's actually very important. Children growing up should have some sort of education. Sexual education is very important as well. Talk about bullying all the time. Talk about standing up for your rights. These are so important in an upbringing of a child. That way the child can actually speak about something bothering a child. The child can actually have the confidence to talk. And just like Ms. Ngozi said, we have to we as parents, we have to do our own part. We have to be close to our children. We have to educate them. Some parents would actually know that, oh, my son is a bully, and turn a blind eye. We have to educate them on consequences. What people go through, the psychological effect of bullying. We have to educate. We have to be close to our children. If they need somebody to talk to, the first person they should come to will be their parents. Mother, father must be the first. And then in the school, there has to be somebody there too, who is always ready. When I was growing up, we had, I don't know if they still have it in school now, guidance and counselors.
Counselors, yes.
Secondary school in Nigeria, we had it in secondary school. You have a problem, you go to the room, you talk to the counselor, and she follows you up, or he follows up, she follows you up, she follows up on the development and how it's going on with you. I don't know if they still do it now. Everything now is about money. Oh, we don't want to hurt this person. Oh, this person is top priority. Every child is equal. In school, every child is equal. Everyone is paying their school fees. However they are paying it, they are paying their school fees. Everybody deserves the right not to be bullied and not to be a victim.
Mm.
And that is
wow.
we have to ensure, first in the home and then in the school.
Okay. Thank you so much, Chief. So we're still here and we're looking at boarding schools and bullying. What is the solution? I'd also like to say, if you're watching us right now, do drop your comments on the comment section. And yes, we're streaming on 3 destinations: Shagalinku TV Facebook page, Shagalinku TV YouTube page, and my personal page, Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari. And the videos are also here even after this program, so you could watch. And for our viewers who are like 6-8 hours different from Nigeria, the videos are still here for you to watch. So drop your comments for us, and our guests will be responding. I like Auntie Ngozi to read this other one here from Rachel. She sent another one. Then you could read this and then we'll come back and talk.
Wow. She says, I came across some of my seniors back then in secondary school, and some of them are so proud of how wicked they were back then in school. Wow, wow, wow,
Too
wow.
bad. Okay, so let me even ask this, Antengo. Um, what's even the way forward for us? Because when you also see what is going on in government schools, like I think you raised that up to when we started off, when you talked about some government schools in the northern part where even the ceilings, the dormitory, the rooms and all of that, the government schools, some of them are nothing to write home about. And then you become worried that if private um, schools are this way, what's even the way forward for us? Because private schools have always been, in quotes, where parents feel or the society also feels that they can get quality education. Even in the university system, you find more parents will tell you, I'd rather spend 5 million and make sure my son or daughter graduates in 4 years than I'm trying to be economical and pay 200,000 naira and ASU will come with their strike and all that. And the course of 4 years, they do it for 8 years. Then I come back and spend much more than that money if I had taken my ward or children to a private school. So when issues like this are happening from the private school angle, it leaves people worrisome. Remember the issue of the Deeper Life school as well. If not that that mother kept talking, even when she was tried, they tried to silence her. She kept talking, making videos, and until they brought all of them to book. But not every mother will have, or not every parent will have that kind of. And I like what Chief said about the parents too. It could just be their way of grieving. Some parents will feel when they talk about the issues, they are also letting out some depression and all of that. So I think if private schools are failing us this much, where do we go from here?
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much. And so, I think last month I was reading something where it was said that just like Nigeria, at some point in the history of Rwanda, you know how they had this long war, with the Tutsi and the Hutsi, where they, before you know it, they had this war and the country almost came to a standstill. And then they got a president, and then they started doing what they call it, reconstructions and all that, and they are at a point where, because at some point they had to now rely on private schools, and then now I learned that they made the public school so beautiful that people are withdrawing their children from from private schools to government schools. That's something to learn, and that's a nation that doesn't even have half of what Nigeria has. So sometime in 2014 and 2015, I was involved in an EU project where we are doing a budgetary analysis of the budget of Nigerian government. You will see that the government has not from the budget that I saw that time, the government of Nigeria had not prioritized education. I look at the budget and I look at what government is allocating for things like Castle Rock, this and that. That time we didn't even have Boko Haram issues. They had allocated a lot of money for buying equipment as if we were already in war. And then if you now went deeper to do a deeper analysis of the budget they had for education, you find that it was more of buying infrastructures. It's not about training teachers, building their capacities and all that. And you find that the next year, those things that you see in that budget, is it a recurrent budget? You see that those same things, that the structures that they're supposed to put in place are now being budgeted again, which means that they had not. Okay, we are building 20 classrooms. In 2016, they are still building 20 classrooms. In the next, we are still buying so we are not serious, actually. I'm really sorry to say, because what has happened is that education has become education has been sold to private institutions, who now take advantage of the fact that some of us cannot even afford those fees. So it's not like it's a place to learn. It's now like a social status kind of thing, where only big people meet and all that, And so it's going to be, we require a total overhaul. If we had government schools that are well equipped with trained teachers, I'm assuring you that, because government is focusing on their own schools, who's focusing on private schools? Do you understand? Of course, you have to register with the government, but how many times do school boards bother to go to private schools to see what's going on there? I gave you an example of when a 2-year old girl was being fingered by a teacher. What does government do with private schools? Private schools, on their own part, they are there charging 1 million per term. They are just interested in the money. And so if your parents are rich, you become an untouchable. And that's why the government must decide to have schools. Let's begin to have government schools and structures. Government should invest in education of its youth. When we have good schools, we have no business being in those public schools. Then everyone's attention, because all of us, I can say all those government people we talk about, they all went to public school. I went to public school. And in that public school, teachers taught us morals that we held on to. With your two hands, you dare not, speak or challenge a teacher. We need to begin to go back to those. I said it like 2 weeks ago. We need to go back to that time. Then where you have private schools, teachers are warned not to touch children. You can't touch a child in those private schools. If you touch a child, I read the story of how a teacher had to apologize to a child, you understand, for beating, and then the father comes and says, do you know who I am? I'm this and that, and your child has no right to, your teacher has no right to abuse. Do you know how much I'm paying? So it's education is for sale, which should not be the case. To educate every Nigerian child should not be something that we will have to buy. And if it has, that's why we're having the issues we are having. Those glorified big schools, nobody knows what's happening behind those walls. If a school such as this school is still an allegation, though, can begin to write and begin to say somebody went to play football, and of course, you want me to believe that's the first time this boy is playing football. From playing football, he got so injured, his mouth got roasted and everything, that this boy died. There's a lot of work that we need to do. And then parents on their part, any parent who would go and fight a teacher for cautioning your child, I'm not saying brutalize a child. Teachers have a responsibility. That's why they call them teachers. They're supposed to teach them not just the book, and also morals, and also how to behave. Any teacher, any parent who goes to school to go and beat or quarrel with a teacher for doing their job is actually not helping, their child in any way. And then my sister here talked about counselors. We're also talking about it. Do we still have counselors where your children can go and say, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I heard, this is what a boy said to me, that kind of thing. Dorothy mentioned comprehensive sexuality education. We've been debating. Nigerian government thinks that sexuality education means to teach them to have sex. But the bad news is that young people are having sex, whether you teach it or not. Do you understand? But comprehensive sexuality education is not sex. It's as little as teaching them to have a voice. It's as little as saying you have self-esteem. It's as little as knowing the parts of your body so that you don't go. Many times children have been abused and they ask them what happened. Hey, uncle put a toto in my legs. Uncle put. They can't explain what has happened to them. And then you see the case, even if the parents are ready to fight, the case fizzles out because we don't understand what these children are saying. And so we really have to do an all-round education. We are educating the children. We are allowing teachers to do their work. Government is doing its work of returning education to what it used to be, where teachers had pride, were respected, where parents also know that they have responsibilities. And if by any means your child will be in a boarding school, there's nothing wrong in boarding school. It's the children they bring there that is the problem. They're not well brought up. You have a responsibility to check on your ward once in a while to say, what's happening to you? How are you feeling? They have sick bays. Sick bays are like where you take what the first aid. Every school has a sick bay. I call it first aid. Immediately they take my own child to sick bay. The next thing, I'm coming to pick my child to go and do proper care. That's the responsibility you owe your child. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. We're wrapping up now, so I'll just bring Chief. Chief, I still need you to say one more thing for. I just have a burning question that I really would like you to address to. And Tingo has also talked about that, but I really am worried for parents. You know, it's not just a good time to be a parent in Nigeria. What's your message of hope to parents? Because the truth is, in Nigeria as it is, you have to work times five to even put food on the table for your child. So when you even want to give your child say they say education is the best legacy we can leave for children. That education doesn't come cheap, not in Nigeria. So when parents see things like this, they are just torn between the deep blue sea and the devil and like, okay, if we say let's stay with these kids now, how do they go to school? I mean, if you live in a busy city like Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, people will understand what we mean by all of this because it is not easy. And like Antingozi said, the government is not also making the public educational places to be good enough for study. Like I said before, parents would rather gather the little money they have, pay extensively for private schools. In fact, the trend now is for parents to send their kids even to neighboring countries, as neighboring as Niger or even the next place after Badagry here, Togo and the rest, you know, just because they know that your child will go to school 4 years and you are sure 4 years. In fact, some schools 3.5 years, you are out. But not with Nigeria where ASU could keep a child for 8 years. I know a lot of parents will be going through a whole lot right now that they can't even start explaining. What's your word of hope as we wrap up now to parents?
I would actually encourage them to keep going in our society where all we have is hope. I would say no one to help. Um, Education isn't priority in Nigeria. I'm sorry to say this, but this is true. I come from a family of, teachers. My father, my mother were all in the educational sector. And it has deteriorated so badly that something needs to be done. Many years ago, growing up, it used to be priority. Believe you me, when we had those presidents, as soon as they step into power, the first thing they do is they call all the heads of universities for a meeting to find out what is the next step. How are we going to boost this? How are we going to work on this? That was when education was something to look forward to. But I'm really sorry to say it's sad, is a sad reality that education in Nigeria is zero. It is not priority, and once education is not priority in a country, the country is going to fall. Everything is going to crash as long as education is not priority. Now let's talk about doctors leaving in droves. They study, they take foreign exams, they're out of the country. Let's talk about government schools. Do you know that growing up, government schools were actually the best? When I was growing up, they were actually, they were up to a particular standard that anybody would be proud to go to a government school when I was growing up. But now government school is now for the house helps, orphans, motherless babies, people who, don't have a family, people who come from broken homes. Probably the stepmother will go like, just put them there, and just turn a blind eye. It's actually, the government school is actually dumping ground. It's not getting better. I'm sorry, but there's no solution in sight. So do you now blame the parents when they look for a certain standard? Oh, I have to put my, the higher the money, the better the quality. It is what it is. So you see parents working. I have seen parents, I've actually sat down and I've had discussion with parents where all they're working for is the school fees. And after that, they continue to live from hand to mouth. Now, we're not talking about 500K, or we're talking about school fees as high as 3 million naira. just to give that child the best. Okay, just to put that child, oh, the governor's son is in that school. Oh, that means it's going to be, the best, top priority, no strike, no whatever, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, that's where you're going to go. And we keep suffering. And then we come back again. I will say it again. Blame the system. Blame the system. I have lived in Ireland for 20 years, and I'll say it again. Blame the system. If the system isn't corrected, nothing is going to work. It starts with the system. It starts with the government. Now, people do protest for better education. They do protest for reduction of fees. They do protest for, hike in fees. It has to be reduced and all that. Now, can we actually protest in Nigeria? What happened to a peaceful protest, the one we did last time? Can people actually come out and say enough is enough? Can people actually mobilize? Can children actually come out and say, oh, no, we don't want this? Now, I've also seen where parents after school now actually pay extra to those teachers to come home, to come to the house and teach their children. Everybody wants the best. But can we really get the best with a system like this? Education is in priority. And as long as it's not priority, we are walking around in circles.
A vicious circle.
It's hope. Hope is a good thing. We hold on to hope, hoping today, oh, my daughter is going to graduate and take the foreign exam and fly out of the country. That's what everyone's saying. It's really heartbreaking, what happened in this boarding school. But we cannot generalize. We cannot say all boarding schools are bad. No, I don't believe that. They have schools that have setting good standards. They have schools with high standards, of education. And they are thriving in a society where education is not priority. They are thriving, trying so hard, to beat the system, to make it better, to give top-notch education to the next generation. We have that. Boarding school isn't bad. No, it's not. It's good. It's a good place, depending on, which school, which reputable school you are in. It is a good place for, bringing up children. Some children are lazy at home. Now, you find out that boarding school has shaped a lot of them. I hear it. My mates that went to boarding school, I didn't go to a boarding school. I hear it from them. Boarding school made them better. It shaped them. They could study, which they couldn't do at home. They could wake up at a certain time. They could do their chores. And for the first 6 years, of, that secondary school, that's 6 years, they had like a focus. So let's not come and generalize and say boarding school is bad. No, it's not. Day school is all right. Boarding school is all right. But we have our roles to play as parents. Like Sister Ngozi said, parents, we have to play. It starts from the home.
Wow. Thank you so much. Antingo, in 1 minute, I'll give each of you the opportunity to wrap up. We really need to go because time is just flying. But I'll quickly just read this message from Darling Dottie. And she says, we continue to call on the government to prioritize education. Let this reflect on the budgetary allocation and disbursement. We had inspectors at all levels. Where are they today? What are they inspecting? What are the reports and recommendations they put together from their visits, inspections? Exactly. So sometimes these things are swept under the carpet. Some monies change hands and then they just endorse and say everything is well. So as we wrap up now in 1 minute each, I'll give each of you 1 minute to wrap up, starting with Antingo. What's your final word of advice to everyone?
Okay, so I'm just going to say what I just found on Facebook now. Someone says children learn more. That's actually Ngozi Nwosu-Juba. She says children learn more from what happens around them. We can teach our children the culture of kindness by being kind. You see, people don't give what they don't have. If we have children who are bullies, it means that we are doing something also wrong in our homes. So this is a call to parents to be the example, the positive example of who we want our children to be. And then, of course, God helping us and also our government doing what they are supposed to do, we'll have a better nation. And may the soul of Sylvester rest in peace. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. Chief, what's your last word of advice to everyone?
I would like to say charity begins at home. Let's start from the home and teach the children how to respect one another. Teach them how to kindness, love, empathy. If we have all this, then bullying will be a thing of the past. And we as parents, if we find out that our children are bullies as well, we need to take a firm stand and we need to change. Just like the lady on Facebook said, it's a reflection of what happens around them. And I would like to say, at this point where the parents are grieving, may God comfort them and give them peace and hope and the fortitude to bear the loss. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for that. I really want to thank everyone who joined us, everyone who sent in their messages. So much to be talked and my guests, and that's why we couldn't take so many messages that are here. But I hope to bring them again because we'll still be talking about these issues. Like I said, bullying is just one aspect of it all. I'd like to also bring my two guests again for us to talk about because what's just going through my mind as we discuss now is if boys could be going through this kind of bullying and hard time in school, I'm wondering what the girls will be going through. So victimization, rape issues, self-esteem issues. Some girls go to school and half of their school time they either drop off or are withdrawn to get married to older men or to even girls who to even men who the girls don't even know anything about. So girls are used to settle bills in some families. So family A is owing family B, and the best the parents of family B can do is to say, okay, bring your daughter for us in exchange for the debt you are owing us. So the girl child seems to be like a commodity in exchange for something else and all of that. And then some homes, the girl child is seen as a prize. This will help in stepping up the ladder. You have four girls, you start calculating that by the time you get bride price from each of them, it will help you economically. And no one is talking about the girl child. No one is saying, okay, what do we do to make them still stay in school and all of that, even with all the campaigns that have been going on. So I'd really like to bring my two guests again for us to still look at these issues. There's a whole lot of things really surrounding all this. At 6 p.m. this evening, I heard that 5 of the students and 3 of the masters in Dowen College have all been arrested. And we just pray. The world is watching, and we just pray that this doesn't go the other ways where a phone call, connection thing, will just one phone call and then matters are swept under the carpet. And we pray justice is done. And just like the deeper life issue and all of that. So for now, I want to say thank you to everyone. And please, if you're a child watching this, please, if you are bullied of all kinds, whether it's a quiet one, whether it's torture, whether it's emotional, whatever one, and then they tell you not to tell anyone. I mean, you must tell your parents, no matter how bad they are. And then you must look for someone in school to do all of that. And once again, for school, you have no business opening your school if you can't take care of the people you are making money from. You don't have any business opening that school. And like Chief said, it's a society. We need to start checking these schools. And I'm happy this is happening. A lot of celebrities are also taking up this issue. When celebrities take up issues, it's halfway solved. So I'm really happy this is not being quietened, so to say. People are taking up this issue. We need to hold these schools accountable. You don't have a business opening a school. If you can't take care of these children, I still repeat, it's like a bank. If banks can't secure the money for us, they shouldn't tell me as a customer every evening I should come and sit in the gate and do the guard work for them. It is your job. That is why you opened the bank. So it's your job as a school. The moment I drop my kid or my word at your gate, that responsibility starts from you. Then when they come home, then I can start mine as a father or as a mother or whoever. So please, let's do our work. The thing is, we always pass responsibility to someone else, to someone else, to someone else. Do your bit and let the other person do their own, and together we'll make this world a better place. My name is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabaya, and thank you all for joining us. We really don't take this for granted. See you soon on the next edition of Shagalinku. God bless you all and have a beautiful evening rest. And once again, thanks to my two wonderful guests, Auntie Ngozi Nwosu-Juba from Lagos, Nigeria, and Chief Obenyalu Udeala Okoye, all the way from Dublin, Ireland. It's been amazing and wonderful having you on the show. And thanks to everyone who contributed, to Darlene Doughty, to Rachel, and so many messages that I couldn't read because I'm just using one gadget today. Hopefully, subsequently, we'll be having more gadgets to use and then we can read messages. People have been complaining that they need to also call in during the program. Don't worry, we're working on all of that. And some people say they prefer to call than just type messages. We'll work on all of that. Hopefully, by January, we'll start putting phone lines for people to call in directly and talk with our guests, ask all the questions they want to ask, and all of that. Thank you all for finding time to join us. The videos will still be here after the show, so you can still watch, share, and all of that. And please do like our social media handles on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. It's at Shagalinku TV. My name once again is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari. God bless you all for joining us. Good night.